So our first question comes from Rex Davis, and he asks, do the BBs in a rattle bait really attract the fish?
Well, at times they attract them, and at times they run them away. And that's the truth. Okay. Where they attract them, it's invoking basically, what's doing. It's basically sending out vibration through the water that's picked up by the lateral line on the fish. Okay. Now, normally the vibration that you get with the rattles is simulating some type of wounded minnow or wounded shad or some type of wounded bait. Okay, and it allows them to track, and hone in on their prey. Even though they're primarily sight predators, they do use their lateral line for vibration, and they also use their olfactory lobes for smell. But sight's the most important. But when the water's murky, or there's a little bit of, stain in it or tinge in it, those rattles can often be the difference between catching fish and not catching fish. That day you and I were out, we were using the red-eye shad. They are loaded with rattles.
No kidding.
And, Toho's got that greenish water to it,
Yeah.
However, I have seen on occasion, I'll give you a specific instance, when the water is real cold in Florida or real clear, I have seen where putting rattles in your baits turns them off. To where they're kind of actually they have plenty of sight vision. They don't need that lateral line reinforcement, and they're already kind of not in a great aggressive mood. And to go ahead and rattle things up sends them the other direction. I guess the only way to describe it would be as if you and I were kind of fired up and ready to hit the town. We might be in the mood for some rock and roll music, right?
Yeah.
But if we've been working on, say, jackhammer all day, we might want to listen to some Mozart or maybe even some mood music back at the house. Now, I know that's very dangerous to do this, because I always hate when people try to anthropomorphize animals and fish, because they don't. They're behavioristic animals. But that's the best example, is that there's times those rattles draw them in, and there's times they don't. So as a general rule of thumb, if the water's dingy, you want to use your rattles, especially if the fish are aggressive, you use your rattles. If the fish are, not aggressive and where the water's clear, then I would start out with not using them. And in any case, I always start out with one and work to the other. For example, let's say I'm Texas rig worming, and I've got a rattle in the bait, and I'm not getting bit. Before I say, they're not hitting this particular plastic bait, I might take the rattle out, and vice versa. If I'm throwing, I'll give you perfect examples. Fishing the Southport Locks, which is a canal that runs between Lake Toho, where you fish with me, and Lake Cypress, which is the lake south.
Yep.
And the water had become fairly dark, and we were fishing after dark at night, and we weren't catching anything, and I mean nothing. And I was about ready to give up. It had been 2-3 hours of not even a bite, but I had done so well in there during the day. I was like, you know what? Let me try packing my black worm with 2 or 3 rattles, and I put 2 or 3 in the head and 1 in the midsection. And we ended up catching close to almost 35 to 40 pounds of bass with our best 5. So it was like it unlocked the secret key. So you always start with the one, move to the other, but as a general rule of thumb, I would say start in dark water with the rattles, stained water with the rattles, or aggressive behavior with the rattles, like if they're schooling.
Right.
And then if you have a situation where you have a cold front, or 15, 20, 30 foot real clear water, maybe start out without a rattle. That's
okay.
where I'd go.
That's awesome.